Hey, what's going on, everybody? So the question for me tonight is to you: does David Stearns have a target? See, his first off season when he got here, there was a clear and obvious target for David Stearns, right? And we saw how it played out. We didn't get him. Last season, there was a clear and obvious target for David Stearns, but was it really David Stearns' target? Was it David Stearns' target his first season in 20? What the hell? I already lost track of him. I don't know. Does David Stearns have a target this offseason? If he does, I don't know who the hell it is. Some will tell you it's Cody Bellinger. Some may tell you it's Kyle Tucker. But are they really? Because if they are the target, you do whatever it takes, right? That's the way I see it. I don't know. I would love to hear what you guys think about it in the comments. Maybe we take some calls. We're going to discuss that, a few more things, all that in a second or two. We'll be right back.
We putting we putting work, turning nothing into something. They feelings hurt, we turning nothing into something. Give a fuck if they don't like me, cause all this bread I count excites me. Turning nothing to something, nothing into something, turning nothing into something.
What up, what up, what up, what up? What's going on, everybody? What is going on? Welcome to Blunt Thoughts episode 64. You know what I've noticed? People do their shows and they come in and say, oh, hello, it's such and such. I really got to tell you who it is. You know it's your boy Hector from the Heights. You already know what it is. Ain't gonna gotta do no introductions, man. It's Blunt Thoughts. Who else is gonna give you Blunt Thoughts but your man Hector from the Heights? You, what's going on, man? What it is, what it is. Quay's wasting no time distracting me with the hellos already. What's up, Lisa? What's up? What the hell was it? Mets Life? And I forget who else. Oh man, the slow roast of the hot stove continues. The slow roast of the hot stove continues, man. I don't know what the hell we cooking. I don't know what the hell we cooking. And I don't know if we're gonna like it. But it's sure taking a long time. And listen, to be fair, it's not only the Mets. It's not only the Mets, right? We know what's going on, my guy. What's going on? We know if we really look at it, the Mets have been, I believe, the most, if not one of the most active in the offseason. It's just that there hasn't been no real headline moves except for the guys that have left. Those have been the headlines. It's been the subtractions, whether it be through free agency or obviously through trade, right? Other than that, not much action. That really excites anyone. You know what I'm saying? Devin Williams, eh, okay. Luke Weaver, eh, you know what I'm saying? All of these moves are moves that maybe if we didn't dismantle the team that we did, and they were somewhat additions, they would be exciting on their own. Like if you added Jorge Polanco and you still kept Pete Alonso around, I'd be like, okay, here we go. We replaced Brandon Nimmo with a different type of hitter. I'm not gonna say a better hitter, but a different type of hitter. Get behind that. But you subtract both of them, yeah. But we've been through that a million times. We've been through all that stuff a million times. What we also saw again this week was the Mets. I don't want to say struck out, but to have fun, we're gonna say struck out on all the Japanese players. As what is the name? I forget his name already. Jeez, golly, heck, you're terrible. But who was the one that was left? Okamoto, right? I forget the first name. But he went and signs with the Blue Jays for I think it was 4 years, 60 million. I forget all the details. Doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter. There it is. He signs with the Blue Jays, and listen, were the Mets interested, not interested? Who the hell knows at this point? I know there was a big deal made about the Met about David Stearns being out in Japan and scouting. I even saw someone this week and talk about he made multiple trips. Somebody that commented in one of my comments, he made multiple trips out there. Came up back. I don't know if he made multiple trips, and I don't know if we want to overplay that. Like all these front offices send people out there if they don't go out there themselves. These presidents or GMs or whatever the hell that happens to be. But Okamoto signs with the Blue Jays, and another guy out there that may have or may not fit in. There were people, trying to come up with reasons why, they felt like Okamoto would fit in. A decent bat that puts the ball in play, doesn't strike out too much. What's up, Jeffrey? But it's just not a guy that David Stearns seems to be interested in, and moves on to the Blue Jays. And then, there wasn't much uproar about that, but it's just another like, okay, so what are we doing? So what are we doing? And again, what's the plan? What's the plan? And I'm not going to talk about again what the plan is or what I perceive the plan to be. I am tired of having the argument about what I perceive the plan to be. Are we contending or are we competing? Is there a difference between contending and competing? Does David Stearns care? Does Steve Cohen care? Of course they care. I don't buy into the nonsense about the casino and all of that crap. I think David Stearns, as a New Yorker, as much as I may joke about, and I was wrong about him being from Westchester and all that stuff, he's actually from the Upper East Side, I think, or Upper West Side, he's from the city somewhere. You think he's gonna finally get the job of his dreams, and he's gonna come here just to screw it up? He's gonna come here to intentionally destroy the team, as some people have said? No, of course he wants to win. Of course he wants to win. I keep saying the timeline may be a little different than we would like, and than what we have, but of course he wants to win. His method of getting there may be a little bit different than some of us may do. But I keep saying, if we're honest, if we think back, how many times have we as fans criticized these long-term deals and how horrible they are, right? I know I have. So that's why I can't be a hypocrite. I've done it a million times. What's up, Ortiz? Ortiz says he went to Japan for the sake, not to scout anybody. But of course, I think David Stearns has the best interest of the New York Mets in mind. I really do. I really believe that. Doesn't mean that I'm gonna agree with everything that he does. Doesn't mean that I'm not gonna be critical or speak out about certain things. I'm gonna always reserve the right to do that. That's why we call it blunt thoughts. That's why we call it blunt thoughts. But I believe David Stearns will try to compete in 2026. I've said that a million times. It's just, is he trying to contend? And is there a difference? Right? Is there a difference between competing and contend? I think there is. I sure as think there is. Shoot, I even think there's a difference in how you compete. Right? I even think there's a difference in how you compete. In my opinion, we shouldn't be a team that's just competing to just get in. I hear some people say, well, just get in. Leave that to the Marlins. Our compete level should be much higher than that and should be at the contend level more often than not. And I think that's what David Stearns is trying to get to. It's just that we felt as fans like we were close to that because of the season that we had in 24, which may have been a little bit of fool's gold. But what I've been thinking the last, day or two maybe, and what I want to ask you guys is, who is David Stearns' target? Because I sure as hell don't know. We know all the rumors. Listen, the Mets have become the kings of being connected and of checking in. They check in, they're connected. Just in the last couple of days, we've heard they checked in on Kyle Tucker. They checked in on Cody Bellinger. They're connected to Cody Bellinger. They're connected to this. They're connected to that. The Yankees are talking to the Marlins about a trade to Edward Cabrera. The Mets are lurking. Who's David Stearns' target? See, last offseason, we knew who the target was. But was that David Stearns' target? We knew it was Juan Soto, but we were going after Juan Soto no matter who was in charge. Whether they finally got him in here or whether it was Billy Epler still running things. The Mets were going after Juan Soto. That was an organizational move. That was an organizational move. The season before that, we knew who the target was, right? Yamamoto. And again, we were going to go after Yamamoto no matter who was in charge. The plan was to go after Yamamoto. Billy Epler had been working on that before David Stearns got here. So was that a David Stearns target or was that an organizational target? And I know you say things like that and people get bent out of shape. But let's have a conversation. Let's have a conversation. Who the hell is David Stearns' target? Because when you have a target, you go all out, right? Or when you have them, when you have a target that you really feel like, yo, I need to get this guy. I need this player. This is the type of player that's going to be part of what I'm trying to build here. This is the type of player that's going to make an impact. It's going to make a difference. Whatever the hell it is you want to call it. Well, that's how they felt about Yamamoto. And he joined in that feeling. And some people will say that they really didn't go all out for Yamamoto, right? That they stopped at a certain point. But they made a wholehearted effort to go after him. And obviously they did that with Juan Soto last year. They didn't stop. But again, that was more organizational than anything. That was Steve Cohen trying to make an impact, a statement to say, yo, we are a destination. I know that's been a debate lately. Are the Mets a destination or not? I really don't know how people feel about it. I just seen that it's been posted. Are the Mets a destination? I don't know. You're always a destination as long as you're willing to pay. I don't think any of the stuff about, clubhouse being an issue or anything like that, unless they're making it an issue by not wanting certain individuals in the clubhouse because of their beliefs or their alignments or whatever, if you want to buy into that, right? But does David Stearns have a target this offseason? Is it Cody Bellinger? Is it a Kyle Tucker? Whom, again, they've checked in on? But this is the way I see it, right? When they say now, oh, the Mets checked in on Kyle Tucker. You know what the level of check-in is? Hey, whoever his agent is, Scott Boras, right? Hey, Scott, how you doing? Hey, we just want to remind you, we're interested in Kyle. Of course, where we stand at the 3-year level, maybe 4 years, whatever the hell it is, right? That's the kind of check-in that we're getting. That's why there's been no progress. And I said it last show. When you have free agents like that who are expected, like this, there was talk of Kyle Tucker getting an 11-year deal, possibly $400 million, $500 million. Those were the talks. Where are those offers? Where are those offers, right? But like I said last time, when you have players like that, when you have a Cody Bellinger, they need the big teams, the big markets, the big spenders to be involved. And right now, both the Mets and the Yankees, who are considered to be in that group, are not willing to go all out. And then, like I said before, as fans for years, we've all talked about how these long-term deals are no good. Well, teams are finally realizing that too. And they're not willing to make those mistakes. So, I don't know. We'll see who the target is. But we don't know who the target is. And then when we hear about checking in, have shown interest, where's that coming from, right? Where's that coming from? Is that coming from other teams? Is that coming from agents? Is it coming from the Mets? No, absolutely not. I don't, Carlos. I sure don't. And that's what I'm saying. When you see reports recently about the Mets have checked in on Kyle Tucker, is, in my opinion, to the level of, okay, they check in the beginning of the off season. Hey, we have interest. Probably don't really talk. We have interest in Cal. You know, we're thinking probably more shorter term deal. We understand you guys want a long term deal. If nothing materializes, keep us in mind, right? The offseason has played out the way that it has, where again, it's a slow roast. It's a slow roast. Ain't nothing cooking. Ain't nothing hot about this stove. It's on medium. So the Mets doing due diligence as they should. They check in. Hey, just want to remind you, we're here. We'd be interested in Kyle. As Jeffrey says that Kyle Tucker is not represented by Scott Boras. Okay, whoever the hell represents him. We're interested in Kyle. We noticed that he's still out there. Just don't forget, if you're willing to take a short-term deal, we're willing to talk. That's the checking level for me. That happens with Kyle Tucker. So no, I agree. They're not giving Kyle Tucker a long-term deal. I don't see that happening at all. I don't see that happening at all. I really don't. I really don't. The other thing that's been on my mind is, when I ask you, ladies and gentlemen, is Luis Angel Acuna is killing that winter ball out there in Venezuela, huh? Let's see. I was looking up his numbers, and it's hard to find this stuff, but I was able to find some numbers out there. And I think he's even still playing now, which is pretty late. He's playing in the playoffs. But I don't really understand a lot of the abbreviations there in Spanish. Not that I don't understand Spanish, but I'm not 100% sure on a couple of the abbreviations. In 39 games, though, 142 at bats, 40 hits, 7 doubles, 3 triples, 8 home runs, 77 total bases, 26 walks, 33 strikeouts, 12 stolen bases, I believe that is. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what that is. For a 282 average, 549 slug, 397 on base, a 939 OPS. Oh my goodness. Who is this guy? Who is this guy? And why is he not in the lineup? And what does it all mean? And what do we make of it? Listen, I'm not gonna act like I know what the level of competition is in Venezuelan winter ball. I can't imagine what double A, triple A level maybe. Who the hell knows? Who the hell knows, right? Especially when it comes to the pitching. Who the heck knows? But the numbers are a little eye-opening nonetheless. I mean, listen, even last season, though, a little bit less time, 29 games, 101 at-bats. He had a 914 OPS out there, you know? Only 3 home runs and all that. He showed a lot of power this year. But what does it mean? Does it make him just a more enticing trade piece for another team? Is it part of the reason why the Mets and David Stearns are not being aggressive or as active in certain aspects? Because again, they have been the most active team, if not right up there with it. But is he a viable option to be on a player on this team? Could he maybe share some time there with Brett Beatty at third base? I know some people think Brett Beatty's a lock for third base. I'm still not convinced. I got to see it to believe it. I think he's been playing center field out there. I wonder if I can find that. But I think he's been playing center field out there. Oh, no. Let's see. Here it says second base. Or has him listed as a second baseman. I'm not sure what he's been playing. So let me not go there. Because I'm going to say maybe does he start the year out in the outfield? That would be disgusting. Could you imagine that? An outfield of Juan Soto, Carson Bench, and Luis Angel Acuna with Tyrone Taylor as the fourth outfielder. Oh my. There's no way we're doing that. There's no way in hell we're doing that. But I don't know. And either way, it has to be a good thing, right? Him raising at least his trade value. What are you guys saying here? To remove David Stearns? Is that what the conversation is? Remove David Stearns? I don't know, man. I don't know if I see it like that. Ramos says, yes, David Stearns has a target. His target is to do everything he can to, if the Mets improve, he gets all the credit for it. He doesn't care about the Mets nor fans. He cares about himself. I don't think it's malicious like that. Like, why? Why? And at the end of the day, doesn't everybody in that position like want to be successful? And like I don't know. I'm not sure I agree with that. I don't think there's any malicious intent to what he's trying to do. Armand says teams and owners are freezing the top free agent market now until next month when spring training starts to get the players on short-term opt-out deals. Yeah. It's league wide. Is it because they're trying to, like because of maybe the lockout coming up and the new collective bargaining agreement that's going to come out, that who the hell knows what's going to come of it? Will there be a salary cap? Won't there be a salary cap or any other restrictions? Who knows? Is that what's making teams, be a little bit more cautious? Is it the fact that now a lot of these front offices are run by or have these analytical departments where, all the evaluations are pretty much the same. And they put these values on these players and they're not really willing to move off of these values? I mean, we've seen the last few years where players that would be able to hang on back in the day for 2-3 years, on those short-term deals, maybe, year-to-year deals, they're out the league at 36, 37. You got to be the elite of the elite to be able to get into the 40s the last few years. But there's definitely a league-wide awakening when it comes to these long-term deals. And only the, select few are able to overcome that. The Sotos, the Vladis. Couple of pitchers. And the guys before that. But right now, it's just not happening. It's just not happening. And I can't say that I disagree with it. I don't. That's what has me like, you know what? I as anxious as I am, you know what I'm saying? Again, there's still players out there. Now, I'm not gonna come here and tell you, yo, we're gonna get Tucker Bellinger. We're gonna make X trade for this guy. I'm not gonna sell you dreams. I'm not gonna do that. I'm sorry. No offense to anyone. That's not what I do. But as far as free agency, for sure. It's not just the Mets. It's not just the Mets. Just look at the players that are out there just waiting. And if you listen to a lot of these guys, they say, yeah, we didn't hear anything until finally this got going. Yeah, teams check in the beginning of the offseason, the beginning of the offseason, and then it's crickets. Everybody's trying to play chess. Nobody wants to make the first move. Nobody wants to make an offer in fear of being used and the offer being taken somewhere else. So why are we going to make an offer? Everybody's using the same metrics, so that all the offers are pretty much within the same range anyways. Right? Then it becomes a matter of the team of the player just choosing where he really wants to be. And in all honesty, I don't have a problem with that. I actually appreciate that. Let's see what else we got here. Almost says, remember my words. After 5 years in charge, Davidson would be fired, and the Mets roster would be worse than it was when he arrived. The farm system will be better, but not the main roster. I hope that's not the case. I've already stated I'm going to root for the guy because if he's successful, the Mets are successful. And I need the Mets to be successful. John says, this may be the worst offseason I've seen in a long time. MLB needs to do something about it. Need a time frame. I feel like we say this every offseason. I really do. I feel like we say this every offseason. This is the worst offseason. It's the slowest offseason. This is just what it's become. And again, it's because all these teams are pretty much thinking alike. Yeah. Yeah. Blunt because we're blunt. That's the wordplay. Oh my gosh. I guess. That's what we're worried about. That's what we're worried about. Pool money for international free agents. Armand says, before the 2024 season, Stearns stated that it was evaluation season, and if it did not make the playoffs, Nemo McNeil and deals would have been traded and would have let Alonso go in free agency. I don't know if he said all that. I don't know if he said all that and named names, but yeah, that's an assumption that we could have made. That had the magic of 24. And that's another thing. Everybody say, oh, well, but look at 24. Why don't we give David Stearns credit for 24? He got credit for 24. Why do we have to still give him credit for 24? At the same time, let's not forget what happened in 24. It was horrible for a long part of it. And then they turned it around midseason. Because he finally called up a guy that was actually pissed off at him for sticking him in the minors, in Iglesias, whom he called up on the advice of J.D. Martinez, whom he signed last minute because he fell on his lap on a team-friendly deal. So, yeah, we'll give him credit. But let's not ignore what happened. And I know people like to ignore the clubhouse and what role does it have in anything, if any at all, whatever. Just like people want to dismiss Paul Blackburn and his comments. Well, I don't. And I'm not saying that, oh, that's why they stunk or because he said it. But no. He was in there. I don't give a shit that he was hurt. And people want to say, oh, he was barely in there. He was in there more than you was. He was more in there more than I was. He knows what the hell was going on. But we're so damn sensitive and such denial about things. Like, I don't mind knowing these things. Now, let's fix them. But the team is in denial about it, too. Though some people will tell you, oh, they made all these moves to get rid of a, again, I don't give a damn. What, but a certain whatever. Because I don't want to get into the conversation about politics and all that crap. So, yeah, so when Paul Blackburn says, yo, it was totally different in 24 than in 25. And the reason why is because of these guys. And when you go back and you look at the 24 season and the line of demarcation of when things turned around is mainly when those guys came up and got involved, I can't dismiss it. Again, now, if you get better pitching that season, do you perform better? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I think you made this comment on a post of mine or something like that, right? And yeah, listen, I haven't hosted a space this week. I don't really have time. I don't have time to really go in spaces. I really don't know what's going on, but you see the posts and stuff. Go get this guy, go get that guy, go get this guy, go get that guy, right? It was okay. It was okay to let Pete go because Stearns was in Japan scouting Murakami. Remember that? Oh, don't worry. They're all over your mind. Remember that? And the trade with the Padres for who was it? Pavetta and this and this and that. Come on, man. Come on, man. It's the funniest thing, right? The Mets don't leak anything. You saw MEZ earlier. The Mets don't leak anything. The Mets don't leak anything. But then you gotta hope you got another side buying into every rumor and extending every rumor. What is it? That's just why I'm not moved by any of it. I'm not moved by any of it. I pay most of it no mind. I really don't. It's gonna be a quick one tonight, ladies and gentlemen. It's gonna be a quick one. Let's see what else we got here. I put out a post yesterday on X, right? And it had a couple of responses. Mainly one person who I don't even remember who the hell it was, Somebody with no picture or anything. I don't remember the name. But I said, in my opinion, and I forget exactly how I worded it, but it was about getting bounce back years. And I named 3 players that I thought could have bounce back years. And that was Manaya, Vientos, and Senga. Right? And I understand there's question marks on all of them. But I had one person in particular who kept harping on the fact that the GM, as he called Stearns, never named him by name, never even named him by his right title, which is president of baseball operations. But the GM told you that he isn't any good or that he can't be counted on, and so on and so forth. And I'm like, okay. So that means I can't root for the guy? That means that it's a done deal. It's written in stone that he cannot have a bounce back year? Are we going to act and talk like he really hasn't been good? Because when healthy, he's been hella good. When healthy, he's been hella good. Right? It seems like he's hella motivated. We know he made a statement about coming back, wanting to come back and not be traded. Does that mean he's not going to be traded? I don't know, but he hasn't been yet. He hasn't been yet. So, yeah, I think he could have a bounce back year. He just needs to stay healthy. Hey, and we got rid of the guy that everybody blamed for his injury. So, I think he could bounce back. I think Manaea could bounce back. Now, to be fair, who is Sean Manaea? Who is Sean Manaea? Some people will tell you he's no more than a 4 ERA guy. Some people will say he's a bullpen guy. Was the change in the arm angle, was that really a move that made him better, or was just that an anomaly because it was new to people and to hitters and they had to get used to it? Or were his struggles last year when he came back really because he was still dealing with the loose bodies in the elbow and wasn't really able to let it go and really never got comfortable? Now, I can only go by what's been reported. And what's been reported is that he's fine, right? We know he didn't have the surgery. A couple of shows back, I shared Adam Ottavino talking about why guys don't have the surgery to clear the loose bodies because it could do more harm than good. But the report is that he's fully clear of that now. No symptoms or anything. Now, we'll see. We'll see when they report of spring training and they start throwing, right? Always talk about it. Spring training, we get excited. And then we get excited when we see all our pitchers on the mound, all 4 or 5 mounds lined up. Those first couple of shots you get. We'll see how that all plays out. Right? But if he's able to stay healthy, not only do I expect, we need him to bounce back. Again, the offseason is not over. I'm not saying this is the final roster. For those that right away jump to that conclusion. I'm not saying this is the final roster. I'm just saying, I'm a freaking Met fan, man. I'm a Mets fan, and I want them to succeed. So I'm going to root for guys. I'm going to root for Vientos to bounce back. And yes, I'm a big Mark Vientos believer. I am. And I'm always going to root for the guy. But we need him to bounce back, no matter what the hell his role is. Whether it's DH, first base, third base, whatever. I need him to bounce back. I need him to be more 24 than 25. Because if he's not, we're going to struggle again. If Shamanai and Kodai Senga struggle, we're going to struggle again. And you know what that means? We're going to be miserable again as Mets fans. Do you want to be miserable? I don't. I want success just as much as anybody. In order for the Mets to succeed, we need David Stearns to succeed. I know it's not pleasant right now, but I can't root against my guys. So, yeah, I need bounce back years from them. And not only that, I need Francisco Alvarez to finally grow into his own. I need him to stay healthy and finally show what he is. Are you going to be that guy that came up that first year? Are you going to finally be that and turn into that first round prospect? I mean, that number one prospect that you were? Or are you going to be like Amer Rosario? What's it going to be? Because those guys are going to be around. And if they're not, okay, they're not. But right now, they're still here. And if they are, I need them to bounce back. See what we got here back in the comments. That's another thing, Dolo. That was another topic of mine that I was going to get to. So you're going to transition us into that. Are we dismissing how much David Stearns is putting into the farm, into the young guys and the prospects? He keeps talking to us about the prospects and how highly they view these guys and how they need to give them a chance. Is that why he's reluctant to go after certain guys? Because I think so. I said it before. Whenever you think about a player, right, you think about a hitter, especially a position player. And then I think it was Will Salmon who also said this after I had said it. And I'm not saying. But is that player better than a Mark Vientos? Is that player going to give you more value than a Mark Vientos is going to give you at possibly $800,000, maybe $1 million this year if he even gets to $1 million? He's projected to get, I think it's like $820,000. Right? There's a bunch of prospects huggers here. There's a bunch of people that are high on the farm. Right? So why are you going to bring someone in here that's going to stop any of you guys, the apple of your eyes? Whoever that may be. The Jet Williamses, the Carson Benjes, the Jacob Reamers. Shout out to my guy Stan. Stan says Alvy and Swaggy V are the keys to the bat. So I agree with you, Heck. And Senga Manai are the key to the pitching, as you say. As of right now, I mean, listen. If there's one thing I wish we could try to upgrade, is definitely that starting pitching. Another thing I said earlier today that rubbed people the wrong way, I don't know why. But I'm like, yo, I'd like to bring in a starter. But not just any starter. That's what I said. Edward Cabrera is not that guy. I know potential. F potential. We got a bunch of guys with potential. So I'm talking about. We got a bunch of prospects. Potential, right? The Tongs and the Sprodes and the Christian Scotts and whoever the hell else after them. The farm system is stacked. I need a guy to come in here and take a little bit of pressure off of Nolan McLean. Why is that a bad thing? Oh, that's a stupid narrative, I was told. What? That doesn't mean that he can't be that guy. I'm rooting for him to be that guy. I think he can be that guy. But if we can make that a little easier, why not? Especially, I say mainly when it comes to the fans. Because the fans are going to put undue pressure on that dude. If we don't upgrade the starting rotation right now, fans are going to be expecting Nolan McLean to go out there and give us 8 shutout innings every outing. Game for War says the Mets will make moves soon, but it's going to be bum moves. Man, we're already 46 minutes in, and I didn't even fire up the phone line. Ortiz says, why not bring up the AAA team? Because then we would be the Marlins. Then that would be a complete rebuild. It's a good question, Darren. It's a good question. I think he has a very good chance to be. I really do. I think he has a very good chance to be because of what I just said. But then again, I was reading an article today where, the Mets have let it be known that Vientos, Acuna, and I forget who else it was, and Mauricio are guys they'd be willing to move to upgrade, especially when it comes to the pitching, starting rotation, and stuff like that. So, yeah, there's a good chance he could be here, and there's a good chance that he cannot be here. I don't know if we got to hire J.D. Martinez for that. As Ramos says, I believe that the Mets should hire J.D. Martinez to help Mark Vientos adjust and find himself again. I agree with you. Vientos has proven that he can do and he can still do it. I definitely think he can still do it. I don't know if they necessarily need to hire JD. Listen, a lot of these guys go and work with guys in the offseason. If JD was so instrumental to him, he needs to show that initiative and maybe go work with him in the offseason, But I also think he himself needs to show some growth and use it as a learning experience and not come in thinking I wasn't going to face adversity like he said, right? Ed Measy says MLB needs some moves to happen this week. The holidays are over, so teams should be back in business. Yeah. What was getting some, I don't want to say traction, but what Joe Sherman and John Heyman were pushing was that the Yankees could possibly be closing in on finalizing maybe a deal with Bellinger. And Joe Sherman tried to connect that with the rumors that they're working on a trade with the Marlins for Edward Cabrera, saying that if there's talk that they're making that trade or if they're willing to make that trade, and as he said, this is just his opinion. So this is just me relaying what I read from Joe Sherman, which I may screw up because I'm not reading it. I'm just what I remember. But this was his opinion, where he said that he's deducting that if they're in talks for Cabrera, it means that they must feel like Bellinger is close, which may give them the comfort to include a Dominguez. Who did he mention? And I forget who the other. Let me see if I see it. I don't have it here. He mentioned a couple other guys where they may be willing to move in the trade because they were bringing Bellinger back. So I don't know. Maybe that move happens in the next couple of days. But yeah, Meezy, at least for our own mindset, man, we need something to happen, right? As fans. Let's see. Should we fire up the phones for a couple of minutes? Anybody care for us to fire up the phone lines? My guy Randy. Randy says the Mets ice stove. Yeah, it's the slow roast, man. It's the slow roast. Let's just hope it's a good one, man. Let's just hope it's a good one. Let's hope it's a good one. All right, so let's get this ready. Let's see if anybody wants to chime in. Give me a second here. Give me a second here. What? Come on. Stop acting up. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. No. Another thing I wanted to clear up real quickly, and bear with me on this one. As I fire this up, because I need the time. Bear with me on this one. But I've heard this a couple of times. I think I mentioned this before. I've heard Brandon Tierney say this. I even heard my guy Ant this morning say something to this effect, right? Shout out to Ant Subway to Shay. Great show this morning. And is that the 86 Mets didn't get along, or that the 86 Mets used to fight each other. And this comes up whenever people talk about whether there were issues or not issues in the Mets clubhouse, or does that matter or not, right? And that's not how I remember it. The 86 Mets were not fighting each other. The 86 Mets did get along. The 86 Mets fought, but they fought other teams, right? The 86 Mets fought other bar patrons, but they did not fight with each other. The 86 Mets got along. They hung out. They had fun together. So to that, right, over the holidays, Keith Hernandez was co-hosting on WFAN with Richard Nia. So I said, you know what? I'm going to call Keith, and I'm going to see if Keith could clear this up. So I want to share that phone call with you guys. Now, I don't know if I'll share the whole phone call because it's pretty long, and I do want to try to take some phone calls, and but I need some time to get this done. But let me share that with you guys real quick. This was me calling in on Christmas Day to WFAN.
As Hector in Washington Heights would like to do. Hector, you're on the fan.
Crap. Where Richard Nia was, Keith Hernandez was co-hosting with Richard Nia, and that, obviously, you guys heard that leak through as we came. I hate that it does that. But anyways, this is it right here.
Hey, Richard, thanks for taking the call, and thanks, Keith, for doing this. And Merry Christmas to you guys.
Thank you.
And I guess why I don't want to talk about the current Mets is because, I mean, it's really disheartening to talk about this, guys, right now. And just because we don't know what the heck is really going on, right? And it's obvious David Stearns didn't think he could win with this team, and he's going a different path. And how long that's going to take and what that path is, we're still waiting to find out. But I have a question for Keith, if I may, because with everything that's gone on with the Mets, you guys have touched, Keith talked a little bit earlier about how it's different now with the clubhouse, and these guys have so much room to spread out and all that. But there's talk about the 86 Mets, and you guys talked earlier about the fight, Eric Davis and Ray Knight and all that stuff. And the 86 Mets was, to me, known as a team that was a fighting team, right? I was 10 years old at that time, so there's stuff that I remember, there's stuff that you learn as you go and all that. But it was a team that I thought, and when I hear you guys speak, a team that got along. You guys fought against everybody else, but you guys went out and hung out together and, you know, had parties, or whatever the case may be. But there's people now saying, oh, the 86 Mets hated each other too. Who cares if the current Mets don't like each other? And if Keith could just shed some light on that and really tell us what the 86 Mets were about and how they got along and all that stuff. Because it bothers.
Gosh, I'm so long-winded. Even to ask a simple question, look how long it took me. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. But guess what? The phone line is ready. So I'll give you the number in a second for anybody that wants to call, because I don't even remember the damn number. I got to look it up. But listen to Keith's response to, again, my question was the misinterpretation of the 86 Mets and the clubhouse and all that good stuff. This is Keith's response.
As me, as a big fan of that team, that I think is being misrepresented a little bit.
If people are thinking that it is being misrepresented, we got along great. Everybody fit in, and we're with each other for 7 months, pretty much every day if you count spring training. We all got along, and there were certain cliques that went in their direction, but basically we had great camaraderie. It was just a good, solid group. Now, that being said, you look at the Yankees when they were the Bronx Zoo. They did not get along, and they won.
Now he goes on to talk about teams that, and the idea that, again, that we know, I'm not here saying that you have to be friends, everybody has to be friends, or anything like that in order to win. It's just, I wanted to clear up what I thought was a misrepresentation of the 86 Mets. He goes on to talk about teams that didn't get along and they also won too. So basically he's saying you don't have to get along to win. But, the other thing, I kind of want to skip to it, was his relationship with Gary Carter, which people thought, oh, him and Gary Carter. No, they were different. But they got along just fine. Let me see if I can find that part real quick.
He played on championship teams. The last guy to hit 400 in the National League.
Can one guy disrupt chemistry? In other words, we talked about Reggie, who had a big ego and thought very highly of himself, and justifiably, he was a great player. But can one guy come into a team and disrupt the whole chemistry because of his self-importance, his ego, whatever?
It can happen, and it depends how it's policed and whether it's a contagion and it goes into a certain clique. Then you get a divided clubhouse, a divided bench.
Did that maybe happen this past season with Soto? With him coming in and being such a powerful personality, even if he was a quiet personality, but just the way that he carried himself. We saw all the stuff. Could that have maybe disrupted the way things? I felt like it may have. Right? I kept talking about how I felt like, the fact that he didn't really want to get in on the celebration and the picture celebration and all that stuff after the home runs, how that may have been an issue. So, yeah, but I don't know. But real quick, just to finish up, because I would really do want to hear him talk about Gary. I want you guys to hear him talk about Gary Carter real quick. So let's go back to that real quick.
I felt that the 1980 Cardinal team was very much divided, and it was much to the demise of that team. We did not have a good year that year. That was probably the one team that really there was no cohesion, and there was separation in groups. So, yeah, but, you're not going to get along when you're on the road. If you don't, that I can count in 17 years. I disliked, and disliked is the proper word, not hate or despise.
Philosophically, maybe, but you guys got
around with them.
Well, there were always stories about you and Gary Carter were on opposite sides, and philosophically, maybe, but you guys got along.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, Gary was one of those guys, and I've said this in the past, that when you played against him, with all the fist pumping, and he was the face of the Montreal Expos, and he was one of the guys when you went into Montreal, you just liked playing against him. As a teammate, he was great, and you get to know someone. You're not competing against each other, trying to beat each other. You're now a brethren. You're on the same ship, and we got the same goals. And Gary was great. And Gary was, played hard every day. I had no issue with Gary.
Yeah. All right, let's move.
And that's that, ladies and gentlemen. That was just my little thing, Because again, listen, that's my team. I was 10 years old in '86. That's my team, right? So when people make what I feel are bad statements about that team, I want to clear it up. So I had to call it, and I'm glad that Keith did that for us. So that was that. But again, firing up the phone lines. There's the number 347-835-5767. If you want to get in here, chime in, have a little conversation, tell me what your feelings are. What do you think about this offseason? Who's the target for David Stearns? You know what I'm saying? Who's the target for David Stearns? Do you want David Stearns out? Do you want him in charge of just player development, as some guys have said here? I don't know. What's on your mind? Let's see what we got here. I think we got somebody. And this person actually gave his real name, and I know who the name is. So there ain't going to be a troll. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I actually know who that troll was last time, right? And he was just having fun, right? He was just having fun. So I don't know if I'm going to disclose who it was. And I had a feeling, and for you guys that come from X and you go in spaces, if you really paid attention, you would have known who that was. Because at that moment, I was like, man, this sounds like somebody, but whatever. And then he hit me up and said, yo, that was me messing around. Well, that was cool. But anyways, let's hear from my guy, Jeffrey, who joins us now. Let me bring him up here. This shit works. There it is. Jeff, what's going on, my guy?
Hey, Hector, Happy New Year to you and your family.
Happy New Year, my brother. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'd be doing a little bit better if we we made that big splash move, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about this evening. As frustrating and, you use Steve Cohen's line, hope is not a strategy. I still have to have hope that we're going to do something, that's a little bit more, that's a little sexier than Luke Weaver and Devin Williams and Jorge Polanco and, those kind of players. And I said in the chat, for some reason, I have this feeling Kyle Tucker's that guy. He's under 30. He's a good all-around player. Stearns and him go back to the Houston organization. I just feel like all things being equal, I feel like, maybe it's blind optimism. Maybe it's 2026. I'm still coming off New Year's Eve or whatever, but I just still think that we're going to get this guy. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I didn't even think about the connection with him and Stearns and the Astros. Was Stearns there way back then when Tucker came up? I wasn't even making that connection. But I'll say this. When you say I say hope is not a strategy, quoting Steve Cohen, what I follow that up with is basically what you said. It's not a strategy for them. But as fans, it's all that we have. It's all that we have. And yeah, I'm hoping for that move too. I'm just not convinced that move is out there. When it comes to Kyle Tucker, could Kyle Tucker be that guy? I don't see why not. But like I said earlier in the show, I just feel like he would be that guy if he's willing to take a deal that's more on the shorter side, not the 8 years, or I think he was even rumored to maybe an 11-year deal way back when. I don't think that's been thrown around lately. I think lately what I've heard more is more like 8 years. And I just don't see David Stearns going to that length. Now, that's where it comes to where I keep saying, if you feel like you're ready to win, then why not? If you feel like you're ready to win, then why not? If maybe it's because of the prospects, maybe it's because he feels like he has a prospect ready and doesn't want to block them. Maybe that's what's playing into it. But yeah, Kyle Tucker would be great, man. Either him or Bellinger, honestly. Either one of them will be good if you're trying to win in the short term. Right? And that's where, and I'm not saying we're trying to punt or David Stearns is trying to punt or anything like that, or he's trying to tank. That's not what I'm saying at all. I've said this before. I don't know how much he feels like he can win in 2026, or that there's anything that he can do to win in 2026. And then there's the aspect of the lockout in 27 and all that. So how much do you want to commit to these guys? I don't know if that answers your question.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, the one thing, and that's why I think a guy like Tucker could allow him to do both, where they can say, you know what, we can get this guy, and he's young enough that if 26 doesn't go, if all things don't break right for us and we, do well in 26, we still have him long term. And I just don't see that hitter in the system that is like a Kyle Tucker. I'm not saying we have bums, but like the Mets hitting prospects, they're more like middle infielders and players like that. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like you could get a Kyle Tucker and it would still allow for some of these guys to develop from within.
No, it fits the plan. It definitely fits the plan. I just wonder, how much does he feel that maybe, how long does Kyle Tucker project in the outfield? And is this going to be another guy that maybe you're then looking to move to a DH or looking for some other kind of position change? What position would that be for a Kyle Tucker, right? We're already talking about Juan Soto and how is he going to finish up the contract if he ends up being here for the 15 years. You know what I'm saying? So I think that plays into it too, is the flexibility with these players. We know that that's something that he likes in players, right? To be able to have him being movable in different positions and being athletic and young and all that good stuff. So I just don't know how much Kyle Tucker fits in, although it's hard to argue that he doesn't fit in. So I'm with you. That would be a great move. And I know that would be a move that would make the fan base happy. But he's not out here to necessarily make the fan base happy with headline moves, is the way I see
No, you're right about that. And one last thing before I'm sure the phone lines are burning off the hook,
it.
and you don't want to speak to me all night. We do that. We do that enough.
Right.
But you put something. I wanted to give you an opportunity because some people I think took it the wrong way when what you said today about Edward Cabrera and how he's not like you were trying to say like he's not really the ace kind of pitcher that you would get to put ahead of McLean, but some people took it as like, oh, they kind of had a little issue with that. So maybe you could kind of get into that a little bit.
Yeah, and I kind of did a little while ago, and I appreciate the call, Jeffrey, man. You're the man.
No problem. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
No doubt. But yeah, I said that before. That's when I said, I feel like we need an ace to take a little bit of the pressure off of McLean. And it's not because I don't think McLean can handle it and I don't think he's ace material. But listen, that was a stated goal of the team. I think that's a stated goal of everybody, all fans. We wanted an ace. I don't just want to add a starter. We have enough guys that are middle of the rotation guys. That's what has us frustrated right now. So if we're going to go out there and go bring in a starter, I want it to be a one or two, someone who's going to ease up some of that pressure that's going to be put on McLean. And that pressure is mainly going to come from us fans, right? Because we're going to expect greatness from this guy right away. And if he doesn't give it to us, we're going to lose our damn minds, especially if it stays the way that it is right now. So that's what I meant by that. And I just, listen, maybe could we really Cabrera an ace? Maybe he could be a high end too. And yeah, you can add that on. But again, who's the ace anyways to be out there to go get, at least in free agency? He doesn't exist. Not even the guy that I wanted, Framber Valdez. He just doesn't exist. And especially not for the price point. So that's only attainable through trade. And we already know Scoobu, Skeens, those are the guys we're talking about here. I don't even think of Joe Ryan as that guy. But he would be better than Cabrera. Shit, at least he stays on the field. At least he stays on the field. But let's see. We got a couple. Wow, we got a few calls here, man. You guys are the best. Let's see. What do we got here? My guy Stan calling from Westport. Stan, how's it going? And guys, man, almost like the radio, make sure you mute the stuff in the background, whatever you're listening to the show on, and try to stay off the speakerphone because I might not be able to hear you. But what's up, Stan?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Me and Stan and I had a little back and forth on X. Nothing personal, Stan. Nothing personal, man. Just good conversation. And I appreciate it. How you doing, brother?
Of course. I'm good. Thanks for doing this. This is great. And Jeffrey's great, too. I tell you, you listen to Jeffrey a lot in some of the spaces. He's really a great researcher and in-depth, knowledge that he gets from all these things. It's pretty impressive and very helpful, really.
Absolutely. He keeps me on my toes. Keeps me on point, that's for sure.
We don't have to.
He's very, very, very well informed, Jeffrey, for sure, man. Good fan, too.
Much so. One of the points he brought up maybe a week or two ago was how big the pitching class is after this year. In other words, the next free agent class is like chock full of pitchers. Like he reeled off literally, heck, almost 20 name guys that are, real good, in addition to Scoopel, of course. And it was pretty wild. And obviously, any team is thinking ahead and thinking about that and what's coming. So, yes, of course, we got to get a starter, or we should get a starter. But what do you pay for that starter? And in a trade, how much do you give up for it? Those factors are really important to this whole process. There's a lot to it, as you know. So I don't know, man. Here's my point, though. I think this team and 2024's team were better than their records, especially this year. I mean, this was a collapse of we already went over many times. Epic proportions, right? You just don't go plus 21 games over 500 for 69 games and then go 17 games under 500.
But you know what, Stan? Maybe the 21 games over was the anomaly. Maybe that was the.
Yeah, it's possible.
I don't know, man.
You're right, Heck. Except for the finish in 24 was so good, right? They played good ball the rest of the way after fading. But, I wanted to revisit that because I put in the comments, you were right about JD bringing him up, because if we recall, JD did come in at the last minute on a team-friendly deal. And when things were at their worst, which was like right after the LA Dodgers sweep that, happened, and we fell to 22 and 33 and 24. It was Lindor and JD that called the players-only meeting, and they were the two primary guys in there that folks were listening to from the reports that came out afterwards. And if you think about it, between him, Iglesias, the meeting, all of that, plus I think Quintana had a lot of big part of it. Sevy, they got some steady play. They turned it around for that literal day. Like that changed the whole tenor of the season.
No, yeah, Stan, and I don't know if you heard me earlier. Like I said, he was instrumental. I'm sorry. I don't know if you heard me say earlier. He was instrumental in actually bringing Jose Iglesias up. He talked about how, and Mendoza talked about this. Mendoza went to him and asked him, "What can we do to loosen up this clubhouse? What do you think?" And he said, "Yo, bring up this guy. This guy is great. He'll be great in this clubhouse." And they brought him up, and then he encouraged him to use the song, and so on and so forth. And like you said, the meeting came from, it was Lindor's idea, but he did go to JD and ask him what he thought about it. And JD, and I'll be fair, I didn't like a lot of the things that JD was saying, Stan, where he was saying, "Oh, who cares if we're going to, they don't, everybody thinks we're going to suck, so let's have fun sucking." I'm like, what the hell is this guy talking about? But it worked. It worked.
Yeah. No, it was really good. So listen, as you say, there's time left. And the other thing I posted a while back for folks that didn't hear or follow it on X was I looked up the other day I always go back and say, okay, so what happened last time? In the last off season, most free agents signed in January and February.
No.
Now some, of course, were December, a couple were even November, and some were even March, but mostly it was January and February. So there's still time to get some of those free agents, and there's still time for some trades. We'll see. The last thing, let me leave you with this, with Benj and guys like that. So Stearns sees what happened in Boston with Anthony and Mayer. And those are two guys that came like straight out of, the minors and like are MLB ready guys, obviously right away. So he thinks he's got one or two or three of those guys down there, and he'll bring them in at the right time. And listen, as a Red Sox follower and fan, people were banging the table, especially because the start was terrible last year, for Anthony to come up. And just like we did with the pitchers, kind of waited, and then they finally brought him in, and he, was a smash hit right away, and Mayer too. Mayer did real well. So that is possible from the minors, and we might get a couple of surprises this year too, which will help a lot. So we'll see, but I'll let you get on to others, Peck. Thanks for the time.
No, Stan, thank you for the call, man. Thank you for the call. And yeah, man, listen, that's what I keep saying. Are we dismissing, how much they're putting into these young guys and how much they can come up and contribute? I apologize for the volume on the call, guys. That was my bad. I just fixed that, I believe. I apologize for that. I know it was a little low before. I forgot the volume was low on the system I'm using to actually get the calls. But yeah, appreciate the call again, Stan. Let's see what we got here. Let's just keep it on moving because we got a few, and I don't want to keep people waiting too long, man. We're gonna go. What do we got here? We got my guy Jack. My guy Jack, Upper West Side Jack, who calls the fan and all that good stuff. We became friends through that, man. Jack, how you doing, brother? It's been a while. I haven't spoke to you in a while, not even personally, man. How you doing?
Yeah, it's been a busy season, but first I have to start by expressing my tremendous excitement that you've taken your brand and your platform to another level where you can field calls through YouTube. We all know that you're a natural, and most of us who are suffering, WFAN listeners, long to have somebody who can really lead a good dialogue the way you do routinely in your spaces, which are the best I've ever heard. And there's nobody happier for you, my friend.
No, I appreciate that. Enough for me. You need to listen to other spaces, man. There's a lot of good ones out there. No, but I appreciate it, man. And I know, I know you're a big supporter of mine. I don't know why, but I know that you are, and I appreciate that.
Because despite being a pain in the ass, you're very talented and gifted.
Watch it. Don't forget I can hang up here.
You're and incredibly charming, and you. That's how we became friends over the fan, and it's how we've endured the fact that we're both complete lunatic sports fans who lose our mind. And nobody's more psychotic about the Mets than me, watching every pitch frequently 5 or 6 times. And but I'm not much for the speculative aspects of the hot stove in the off season. But what I wanted to say was 2 things. One that's emotional, and one is an idea about how we evaluate our organization. Emotionally, I'm still in pain about Pete because I'm a very loyal person, and we all know the joy that Pete brought to us. That nothing more than Pete and Soto made me question the whole WAR statistic, because we saw Pete hit 3-run home run after 3-run home run, every big RBI. The only guy who carried us with runners in scoring position for most of the year, and his WAR is half of Soto's, who had his worst year for doubles, strikeouts, and runners in scoring position, because he showed he's human, that he was pressing. So on an emotional level, I am deeply in mourning about losing a fan favorite and a good guy, and a guy who was a solid protective run producer who I thought was becoming better at it. But I want to say that being a GM, we've all watched great teams. And one of the things that all the great teams did that we've watched is they made the big plays in the big moments. A Bregman who said, you know what, I wasn't going to try to get the double play because I did that early in the season and we didn't get the out and the run scored. So he made the incredible tough throw to get a guy at the plate in a series for Houston. We saw it with Keith and all the great Mets teams that you loved, guys who could all make big plays. And as much as I love Pete, and I don't know anybody who loves him more than I do, we all know that it was terrifying to see him try to make a throw under pressure, at any given point. So I want to say this. There's an old saying, it's the last thing. I know it. Thanks for the time, Hector. They always said that revenge is a dish best served cold. And I think that applies to being a GM. And I think, Stearns, I still believe he's a guy who is not going to pay more than what he thinks is reasonable value. And I think that if he's decided to reconstruct this team, we just got to let it play out. And I haven't lost faith in his ability as a talent evaluator. I think Cohn will do whatever he thinks can make his team a championship team. And and I still obviously have great and your friend Carlos Mendoza. That these people see things that they don't miss anything. No matter how much we think we do, they don't miss anything. So I'm in pain, but I'm not giving up on my team. And congratulations, Hector.
No, appreciate you, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for the call, Jack. And listen, man, I agree with you. Like, I can't lie, and I've said it before. I can't lie and say that I wasn't watching these games in the playoffs and stuff and say, man, we wouldn't make that play. Damn, that play that Vladdy made, P doesn't make. You know what I'm saying? And just overall, excuse me, as a team, like, we know that we needed to get better. We needed to get younger. We need to get more athletic. And we need to get better. The whole run prevention thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, it is real, but it does hurt. It does hurt to let someone like Pete Alonso go because with all his flaws, he was still a strength. He still gave us a lot. You know what I'm saying? And when he came up through the system, and, like I talked about this a bunch of times, you hear these guys, you hear about them coming up. Just like right now. It's like right now. We're hearing about all these young guys, the Benjis and the Jet Williams and, McLean we're falling in love with already, right? And Tong and Sproat or whatever. I know there's still some mixed feelings on that and a Christian Scott. But the point is, if these guys come up, what do you think is going to happen in 5-6 years? If they have any level of success, we're going to grow an attachment to them. And we're probably not going to want to see them go. There's a good chance, though, that a few of them will go because that's the reality of sports. That's the reality of baseball. Right? So, yeah, it hurts. But we also have to be realistic and say, yeah, we needed to upgrade a little. We did need to upgrade. Now we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. I agree. I think David Stearns has the best interest of the Mets in mind. He's trying to make us the best that we can. He's trying to give us that sustained success that we've never had. It's just getting there is a little painful. Some of the moves are not going to be well liked. We do got to give him credit for having the guts to make those moves. So, anyways, let's see. Oh, we got a Delo Mio on the line. My guy, Randy Talks Mets, does his thing on YouTube, on X, and all that good stuff. Dime a ver, Randy, ¿qué es lo que?
Dime a ver, ¿cómo estamos?
Chilling, brother, chilling. Dime, what kind of trade you cooking up today? What kind of signing you cooking up today?
Man, man, I'll tell you this, man. I just don't know where this team is going. Like, I still, to this day, I don't know the direction of this team. Like, it's just a wild thing because it's like, where are we at? We January 4th right now. Like, this is becoming, like, concerning. To me, this is becoming concerning because I want us to be successful, but, like, we're just interested in almost everybody, but we're not getting nobody. Like, the Kyle Tucker thing, like, I would like a Kyle Tucker here in a Freddie Peralta. I would. And to me, if he gets Kyle Tucker here and he trades for Freddie Peralta, that is a winning offseason, to me. But I just don't have the confidence that he's going to do it. I don't have the confidence. People talking about, we got so much time. We're in January 4th. Pitches and catches report February 9th. I don't think that we have so much time like everybody thinks. So I think, man, like, it's very, very concerning. I'm trying to be hopeful, and all that and patient and whatever, but it's just wild, bro. It's just a wild offseason, the most craziest offseason, like, for the Mets in some time, like, in a bad way, because it's just, we don't know what's going to happen. And also, like, what is going on with this market? Like, are we in the lockout right now?
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, the thing is, like,
I don't know, bro.
That's what I was going to say. The thing is, like, there's still players out there, right? There's still players out there. So, I know you don't want to hear patience, but and I'm not the most patient guy. I want to have signed everybody. Let's go. Like I keep saying, if there's a target, if David Stearns actually has a target, go out there and get him. He told us he was going to be aggressive, right? We talked about proactive instead of reactive. Well, be proactive and go get your targets. Because that's not how it works, Hector. You got to let the market play out. and everybody's letting the market play
Oh.
out. So it's slowing everything down. You know what I'm saying? So because there's still enough players out there to make an impact. Now I did forget. I was forgetting even Freddie Peralta. Like that's more of the line. That's the kind of move that I've been expecting, anyways. I've been expecting them to trade for
Mhm.
Freddie Peralta, but it takes two to tango. Is Milwaukee actually going to want to make that move? But I would take that move. That's a guy that you could put in. And is he an ace? But I think we could put him up there. He could be a short number 2. He could start out as our ace as
No, I'll tell you this,
McLean
bro.
pushes
Freddie
him out.
Peralta is an ace on the Mets. He's an ace on the
Well,
Mets. He's an ace on the Mets for sure.
right,
Like on the Mets team, he's an ace.
right.
Like,
No, I
like
agree, man.
I like him, man. I like Freddie Peralta. I love Tucker. I would love Tucker here. I really would love Tucker. But I don't know what they're gonna do. And also I want to talk about the Paul Blackburn comments. To me, it's like I already knew that. I already knew that the clubhouse wasn't the same or whatever. Like we heard the same. We already know that about JD Martinez and how Jose Iglesias and how they shaped up the clubhouse and helped the clubhouse. Like
Yeah,
it's not something
but
new to
we
me.
speculate as
Like
fans, right? So like when you hear it from somebody that was in there,
you're
it's
right.
like it just reaffirms it. So I don't mind it. I don't mind hearing it. You
No,
know what
I
I'm
mean,
saying?
I don't. It's just to me, I just already knew it. I don't know, like you know what I'm saying. But I felt like I already knew it, and yeah, I mean, it's what it
No,
is.
for you,
But
but there's a lot of
I
people
understand.
that are in denial about that, and even now, they just chalk it up to it's the Post and Mike Puma, and they have a vendetta against the Mets
Mm.
and this and that. So, but like for me, it is
I
what it
mean,
is, man. But you're right.
as
It's
as
nothing
a
new.
watcher, like watching the season, like watching it didn't look the same as 2024.
Right.
Like it just, and I talked about it from the beginning of the season. I'm like, yo, this is not the same like chemistry. Like I'm not getting the same vibe from this team. I'm not. It's the truth. Like, and like, but again, Paul Blackburn, they felt the same way. But he said, oh, the Yankees, they had a great vibe and all that. They probably did. They probably did. This is a team game, and a team needs to be in unison. You know what I'm saying? So I think a team needs to be in unison to at least win or something like that. Be on the same page.
Right.
And
Yeah,
maybe the Mets
I
weren't
think
on
it
the same
matters.
page.
I think it matters, but it's what they
That,
say. What comes first,
yeah.
chemistry or winning? Winning or chemistry, right? I think it goes hand in
Yeah.
hand. You know what I'm saying? Is there a team that
Yeah.
could win without chemistry? Like I was saying before, that Keith talked about. I didn't play that. That Keith Hernandez talked about with Reggie on the A's and Reggie on the Yankees and all of that stuff. You know, um, yeah. But I think
Yeah. Yeah, man.
it's more easier. It's more conducive when you have a team where everybody's pulling on the rope in the same way. And that's what Paul Blackburn said. When he got to the Yankees, everybody had the
Yeah.
same goal in mind. It felt like everybody was pulling on the rope at the same time. And it obviously didn't feel like that to him on the Mets. And we could see it. Why? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Why? I don't know. But when you hear you
It's
have
just,
guys like, Lindor and McNeil still not seeing eye to eye or getting bent out of shape about a play not getting done, like obviously, why?
yeah. I guess the last question I'm gonna ask is the Cody Bellinger one. We saw the report about, I don't know if you saw it, but that they offered him a second deal.
The Yankees
The
did, right?
Yankees,
Yes,
that
I just
they
saw that right
offered him
before
a
I came
different
on.
deal. Yeah. So, like, do you think this makes the Mets want to make more of a deal now and actually get into action, or do you think that the Mets are out on Bellinger and it was just like interest? I don't know. Like, what do you think?
Listen, what precipitated the Yankees making that second offer too? You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate the call, Randy. You're the man. But I do
Yeah,
wonder,
appreciate you, bro.
no doubt. I do wonder, was it because someone like the Mets also made an offer, or was it just the Yankees like, yo, trying to show like, oh, we really want you, and we're trying to show you how much we want you by upping our offer? That's a great question. I'm not sure, but I did see that the Yankees made a second offer to Cody Bellinger after the initial. But again, this is coming from Heyman and Sherman, who seem to like want to boost each other up and stuff uh, on their reports. Um, but I don't know, man. Listen, hopefully it is. Although I think Bellinger fits in less with David Stearns' line of thinking. I would think, in my opinion. So I don't know, man. I honestly, like you said, it's hard to tell where this thing is going. That's why my call today was my question was: is there a target? Like, is there a clear target for David Stearns, like Yamamoto was, like Juan Soto was, like Frankie Montas was? Frankie Montas was a target last year. He went and got him right away. Right, that was a target for him. Oh man, I think this may be our last call of the night. But we got my guy Darren. My guy Darren calling from North Carolina. The great Darren, man, who supports all of us, man. Great guy. I actually got to meet him this year. He actually, think about this, ladies and gentlemen. He came from North Carolina. He invited me to a game. How backwards shit is that? But I think I was actually able to at least treat him to a sausage or something. I don't remember. Italian sausage. Damn, that was horrible. Anyways, Darren, how you doing, man?
I'm doing fine, Hector. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good. Thanks for calling in, man. Appreciate it. Really do.
I was going to say that God made man in his image. I think how David Stearns trying to make the New York Mets into his image, which is the Milwaukee Brewers. Because if you know the Miami League team, their farm system is filled with species like base runners and stuff like that, base stealers, like AJ Ewing and Williams, and this catcher that they got Swiller, who stole over 30 bases. The only guys that they got that hit for power are Reimer, Burns, and Clifford. But the majority of their prospects are like speedsters and defensive merchants and those type of players.
Right. But, and listen, we all say that, oh, he's trying to build a team in his image, which, okay, I've done all these front office guys do, right? They try to build a team the way that they see that a successful team should be built, right? And for the most part, it's so much difference, right? It's not that much difference. And then when we look at Milwaukee, like, we like to have fun and we joke about it. While I was calling us the New York Yankees of Milwaukee, the Milwaukee, whatever the hell I called this, and the Milwaukee Mets and all of this stuff. But the reality is that the Brewers have, at least in recent times for sure, been more successful than the Mets. Have they won a World Series? Absolutely not. They have not won a World Series. But do we not want to give ourselves a chance to get into the dance every year the way that they have been able to do for the most part? Heck yeah. Will that get tiring after a while? Will that get old after a while? And do I not want a World Series before even sustain success because I'm an ignorant fool? Hell yeah. I want a World Series, and then we can talk about sustained success. But I'm also not going to shy away from sustained success. I'm also not going to say that sustained success is a bad thing.
Hector, I don't have a problem with them making the Mets like the Brewers and getting Yankee players. If you get winning players, I like that. Especially if you're going after players like Tucker and Bellinger, because they've won World Series. They have that experience. And Soto also. But, like, the thing is, like, I agree with Carlos Ramos, that he was saying that Stearns should be in charge of the development of the minor league players because he's good at that, but when it comes to deals, he waits too long to pull the trigger. Like, he wants things to fall in his lap. And then that's why he loses a lot of these big players, and he refuses to budge over the 3-year thing with pitchers and with certain players. So I don't have a problem with him going after players from Milwaukee or the Yankees. If they're winning players, I don't mind. But he's not flexible when it comes to signing certain type of players. I think that hurts the team in the long run.
No, for sure, man. Listen, getting young, getting more athletic is better. I think eventually he will get out of that mode of waiting for the perfect deal, right? And go out there and get that guy. I just don't think he's ready for that right now. And I don't think he sees that player that he says, I need to have this guy. I need to have this guy at all costs. I just don't think that player is out there for him right now. And to be honest, I can't say that I totally disagree with him. You know what I'm saying? As much as I've said it before, as much as I like Framber Valdez, I don't want to give Framber Valdez 8 years, 7 years, or anything like that.
Yeah,
I'll take him
I
on a
agree with
4-year
you. I
deal.
don't want him for more than 2 or 3 years.
You know, how many times have we, as I guess, like I've said a couple of times, as fans, looked at these long-term deals and we say those are terrible deals. You know what I'm saying? These 10-year deals, 12-year deals. So I understand his line of thinking with that, and I don't like Juan Soto's 15-year deal, but I understand it. I get it, and I understand why we did it. But I don't see it. I don't want to overpay for Cody Bellinger in years. I don't want to really overpay for Kyle Tucker in years. So that's where it's like I can't go nuts because I get it. You know what I mean? I get it. But I do think he is trying to make us better. And I think eventually that player will come where he says, you know what? This is the guy that I will overextend myself for. Now he better be right.
And I think another thing the Mets have a problem with, they have a glut of too many infielders that not only in the minors, but also with they
Yeah.
had Vincent, they had Bailey, they had Mauricio, they had this guy, the brother of the guy from Atlanta,
From Atlanta. I
the
don't
guy that played good defensively, the steals bases, he doesn't hit much.
yeah,
Acuna.
oh, they didn't get it from Atlanta. They came in the trade from
They
Texas.
had too many guys playing the same position, and I think that hurt the development of certain players. I think Vientos, it hurt him, it hurt Bailey, it hurt a lot of players because there was inconsistency with all this rotating players around last year. And I think that's something that they have to correct. I think Vientos should hit like 35 to 40 homers if he got over 500 at bats. And I like Mauricio, but the thing is, he can't hit from the right side. I don't know if he's gonna have to
Listen, Mauricio right now can't hit
improve
from.
on that or just totally dish it like Mullins did, or they need to make some moves there because they got too many people that play the same position.
No, they do. But Mauricio right now can't hit from either side of the plate. And I appreciate your call, Darren, man. Have a good night, brother. Appreciate it, man. Thanks so much.
Okay, good night.
All right, brother. Yeah, Mauricio right now can't hit from either side of the plate, to be honest with you. Mauricio gonna find himself in AAA to start the year. So we don't gotta worry about Mauricio. But I definitely agree with you that there's definitely a logjam of infielders right now. And that needs to be cleared up, whether that be through trade or whatever the hell it is. You know, and that's what I was saying before. We seen Acuna have a great winter ball season. Does this make him more attractive to other teams as a trade option? Or does it make him an option that I don't even know what position to put him. I don't even know what position to put him. Mauricio, forget about it. He's not even a trade piece nor a major league piece right now. This guy's batting like 2-something out there in DR. So, but we know that Mauricio just needs a little bit more playing time. And maybe he'll never turn out to be what we thought he could be because of the injury and all that stunting his growth. I don't know. But I saw a comment here from the homie Ellen. How you doing, Ellen? Always good to see you. Yo, Jonathan, what up, my guy? How you doing, brother? I know you like to talk, man. There's a calling number. Give us a call. Let's see what we got here. Comment from Ellen. I'm surprised so many people expect to be told who the Mets are targeting most strongly when it makes no sense to negotiate in public. I'm not saying that I expect them to tell us who they're targeting in public. I don't. Right? I don't. At the same time, you knew they were targeting Yamamoto, right? There was no question about that. You knew they were targeting Soto, right? There was no question about that. So I'm just saying, like, can we make any educated guess as to who he's targeting? We like it when we hear positive reports about they checked in with this guy or that guy if we like the player. But then when we say we don't know who we may be targeting, that's an issue as well. I don't know. Not saying that, you know what I'm saying? But, I don't expect them to come and tell us in public. It's hard. It's tough to read right now. It's tough to read if there's any clear target. It really is. I'm sorry. McLean Son Young says, go get Tucker Peralta and Yandy Diaz if you really want to win. Hey, that's a start. Born Mets fan says, exactly, and we're all just impatient. The only team that has been really aggressive this offseason has been Toronto. Everyone else is letting the market play out. Yeah, listen, Toronto feels like they have a chance to win. Toronto feels like they have a chance to win. So they're going out there. Now, we'll see how it plays out, right? We've seen that happen a lot of times before. Team goes out there, spends some money, and it doesn't work out. I don't want to say hopefully it works out for them because I'm a Met fan, right? So what is this? Fuck the vibe. Oh, you guys are talking about bringing somebody back. I don't know if you guys are talking about Iglesias or JD. Listen, I said it all off season last year. The OMG thing, could we have? I wouldn't have minded bringing Jose Iglesias back because I felt like he could help with the leadership. He talked about wanting to come back and help Francisco Lindor lead this team. And I felt that he could do that. You know what I'm saying? But not because the vibe was going to be the same. Because I said it over and over. OMG was 2024. You know what I'm saying? OMG was 2024. Every year writes its own story. Unfortunately, the story of the 2025 Mets is not one that we like. It's a story of clubhouse dissension. It's a story of not being able to get out of a funk. It's just an unpleasant story. But now, for real, because we do got to get the hell out of here, we're going to take our last call of the night, and that comes from my guy, Jonathan, man. Jonathan calling us from the island, baby. And I don't mean the Jamaican Islands.
What's up? First time caller, long time listener.
Stop it, brother. Stop it. What's going on, my guy? How you doing, man?
What's
Happy
going on,
New
my
Year to
man?
you and
I'm
all that
happy
good
for
stuff,
you, bro.
man.
I love it, man. Listen, I know how hard you worked on this, and you're so passionate about this. And man, I wish you all the luck in the world. And if anything I can do to help you, I'm here for you, brother.
No, I appreciate it.
For sure, man.
I know
yeah,
you've been anxious. I know you've been anxious. How you feeling? I know. I see the posts. You put out a couple of polls. What the hell are we doing? What is David Stearns thinking?
Yeah, man. It's underwhelming, bro. And you know what? I gotta ask you that question. What do you think of the poll? What do you think he's doing a good job, or do you think he's doing a bad job so far this year?
Well, it's incomplete. It's incomplete, right? Emotionally, if we get emotional about it, and I think about the players that I like, then I could say he's doing a bad job, but I can't really say that right now. You know, if you're talking about just this off season, I think it's complete. But I think if we look at it overall, I don't think we can say he's doing a bad job with the organization, right? When we talk about all these prospects, when we've seen how we've moved from being ranked 14th as far as the farm system, and now we're, number 1, 2, whatever the hell it is. So I think he's doing a good job in that sense. It's just this offseason leaves a lot to be decided, and there's still a lot of time left. At the same time, is what's his goal with this offseason? Is it to go all in? Because I don't think it is.
I'd love to
and I
know
think that's
that
where the problem
myself.
comes.
Yeah, I'd love to know that myself. So the poll it closed about an hour ago, and it was like 355 votes. And to think that I did the math, 136 out of those 355 voted that he's doing a great job. I was like, oh wow. I was surprised, even though it's about 39%.
What do you think? Though? You don't think he's doing a good job?
I think he's doing so many missed opportunities. I think that he's doing a terrible job. That's in my opinion. Of course, it's my opinion only. You had a guy out there in Okamoto, and he didn't get that much. And you lost Pete Alonso, and you have a guy who won 3 Gold Gloves. Granted, it's in a different country, and who knows how it translates over here. But he won 3 Gold Gloves. His whiff rate is really low. He bats over 300. He's got pop. He's a right-handed.
Wait, Okamoto won Gold Gloves at first base or third base though? First base?
2 at third base and 1 at first base.
Okay.
Dude, he's a good glove. What are you doing? What is the direction of the team? Are you gonna go out and get a Yandy Diaz? Are you gonna get a Bellinger? Are you gonna get a Kyle Tucker? God forbid. I don't know. No indication in where they're going and what they're doing. I don't know. I don't see the direction. I don't know.
Well, the good thing is that those guys are still available, though. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that's why. You could say that that's the thing, is that he didn't go after this guy because he's still in on. And I know that that's more hope than anything. That's speculation, and that's what a lot of people are thinking and hoping is, okay, we didn't go after Okamoto, we didn't go Murakami, is because our sights are on these guys, the main guys, the Bellingers, the Tuckers. I not so sure about that. Again, unless they come on a super sweet deal or a team friendly deal.
But you can't wait for people to fall into your lap sometimes. You wait too long, other teams are gonna get desperate too, and then you're gonna go into a battle. And that's what I'm afraid of. Are we gonna go into this? You think this team, as currently constructed, is a playoff team?
It's tough. I can't
I know.
confidently say that it
I know
is.
the pause.
But listen, I'll tell you this much. Last year at this time, I was saying the Mets were going to win 94 games. And how did that go? You know what I mean? So we got to see how it plays out. Again, we need some bounce back from a lot of guys. I know that's a lot to ask, but we need it, and I think we'll get it from some guys, and then we'll see if anybody we get any impact from the young guys that come up through the system.
And one last thing before I go, McLean, right? He was great. He was awesome. Who's to say that he's going to do the same thing? Are you 100% sure he's going to be really, really good next year? And are you 100% sure you want him to start the season as our ace? Don't you want to have a guy who's out there like a Freddie Peralta, a Joe Ryan, dare I say Valdez, or something like that to groom the guy? I don't know.
No, I definitely want somebody. I definitely want somebody that could ease a little bit of the pressure. I want somebody that we could look at like, okay, this is an ace. Now, who's that guy? You know what I'm saying? Is it a Framber Valdez? I like Framber a lot, but do I want to give him 7 years? Not really. Not really. You know what I'm saying? But I'm confident that I think McLean will be good, but I definitely would like to bring somebody. And I think they do too. It's just that who's that guy? I don't think it's Cabrera from the Marlins. You know what I'm saying? You want to tell me Alcantara?
I don't think I really like Cabrera that much.
Right. You want to tell me Alcantara? You mentioned Joe Ryan. Yeah, he could be a nice high 2. You know what I'm saying? High end 2. So I think he could help a little bit.
Number 1 on this team.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, that's what Randy said before too about Freddie Peralta being number 1 on this team. I mean, listen. Oh, but only for a little while, right? But we could bring in somebody that's a clear number 1, and this guy's the number 1, and McLean is he could be a co-ace, but he'll be the number 2 or whatever or we could bring someone who he's the number 1 on this team until McLean pushes him out by May. You know what I'm saying? Which is that's not a problem, but that's the kind of guy that I want to bring in, though, is a high end guy. I don't want to bring in a middle reliever. I mean, a middle of the rotation guy. I don't want to bring in a high 3, low 4 guy and be like, this is an upgrade. We got enough of those guys.
No. We got enough of those guys for sure. But you can make the argument that we need even 2 pitchers out there. I mean, you can make that argument. Is Manaya gonna bounce back? Is Senga gonna stop being a baby and pitch? Right. I don't know, man. A lot of ifs. Too many ifs and
still a lot of ifs. Absolutely, and it's not good.
Yep. But anyway, man, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for bringing me up.
No doubt.
Keep it up, man. I'm ecstatic for you.
No, appreciate it, man. Thank you. Listen, I figured this isn't something that we could add in. I know I could go into spaces and do this, you know what I'm saying, and talk to people and all that stuff. But I know there's people on YouTube that don't have X that won't do that. And I know there's people that said, we should do phone calls. You take phone calls some way, somehow on the YouTube. So I said, we'll try it out. Now, again, it don't cost you guys anything, but it costs me a little some. Not a big deal. So we may not do it all the time. Oh, no, my bad, Jonathan. That was me. My fault. Kind of abruptly hung up on you. this is somewhere like the radio. There's not a space. But I kind of want to get out of here. But appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you. You actually the longest one on. But yeah, man. So I figure we'll incorporate this a little bit. We'll have some fun with it. Um, get to hear your guys' thoughts. You guys can come up here and share your blunt thoughts. Hopefully you guys enjoy other people's perspective. You know what I'm saying? Other people's ideas. You know what I'm saying? But we'll continue to have some fun with it. If becomes successful or whatever the case may be. I don't want to say successful, but if it becomes a thing, we might make it an 800 number, which is a little bit more costly, but we may make it an 800 numbers. That way we can get maybe some more calls from out of the, U.S. local area calling and all that stuff. And it's also a way to incorporate that you can call through the computer. I just don't know if I want to add all that stuff yet, because then it can really get crazy. But that would also be like a phone call. You have to activate the mic on the computer and all that good stuff. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is the second time we tried it. A lot more phone calls tonight. Actually real phone calls tonight, as opposed to the one troll call that we got from a friend. Well, I guess we could call him a friend. Someone from X that wanted to have some fun last time. But on that note, man, listen. It's a slow roast. What can we do? This is what the MLB offseason has become. All these teams think alike for the most part. And when you have the big market teams being as reserved as the Mets and Yankees are, this is what you're going to get, where markets are slow to develop. But we're getting now to crunch time. Will the Mets actually, and David Stearns mainly, take the next step from checking master, from checking in, to actually making a deal? Not that he hasn't made any deals. We know we've made deals. One of the most active teams, right? But some big deals, man. Let's make some big deals. Let's see. Working on a guest. Don't know if that'll happen this week. Working on a couple of guests. Don't know if that'll happen this week. Maybe next week. Other than that, sometimes we just feel like popping up. Gonna be a little busy this week. Actually got umpiring classes starting on Tuesday. Yeah, I'm gonna get into umpiring, ladies and gentlemen. Should have done it a long time ago. We're gonna start, recreational softball. I think where I'm going, I didn't really know they work more with girls' high school softball and stuff like that. But that should be fun. So gonna be a little busy this week. But anything pops off, if we actually make a signing or trade or anything like that, we'll turn this on when we can. But other than that, man, shout out to all you guys, man. Thank you to everybody that called. Thank you to everybody that listened. Thank you to all the guys that commented in the comments, conversation. I apologize if I couldn't get to it. But give me a call. Stop talking amongst yourself. Dial the number up. Let the people hear you, man. Let's have some fun. But nah, man. Have a good night, everybody. Appreciate you. The slow roast will get cooking. But you know what it is. All day, every day, baby. Let's go, Mets. Peace. Your thing, Kweisi.
My Full of animals and we made ourselves with minimal. Fuck you, no subliminals. Putting in this work, nigga. That's why they feelings hurt, nigga. Swear we need a hearse cause we rep our shites to the dirt, nigga. If I'm in the club.